In my last video, I was very positive, wasn't I? Now I feel like giving something abuse and... oh, look at what we have here. Okay, so I already did a video on Sonic Forces, but here's the thing. It was shit. I want to give this game the proper abuse it deserves. The last video I did only really went in on the story, and that's because this time around the story was much different for Sonic. But I mean that as in it was just underwhelming in almost every step of the way. Constantly holding back like it's too afraid to be better. Life lesson, lads. You can only be more than you are when you take risks. This game felt like it was going to do that, but then pussied out halfway through every single time. Easily the best word, and probably the most common word used to describe this game was disappointing. It's not terrible. Graphics look fine, the game is functional, there is content and a plot that can keep you somewhat engaged for 3 hours without frustrating the player much. For me, I can mindlessly play this game, put something on in the background and just chill out. It's one of those games. Not terrible, but not that good. I've always described Cold War Zombies to be good, but only good. That's mainly because the game was so easy, it did feel a bit too stale at points, but I was never disappointed by it. I was always excited with each new map, and only 5AZ was the only one that felt a little underwhelming, but the rest of the maps and gameplay was worth the wait for me. This definitely wasn't it though. Didn't come anywhere near living up to the expectations from the trailers. It was just bland and felt kind of dull, which is sad to say, because it has a lot of interesting and exciting looking set pieces within the gameplay. First off, let me quickly say what I have to say about the story. It could have been great, but it sucked absolute massive amounts of pig shit. This game, there was a new villain. Sorry, I meant there was a new sidekick for Eggman. Infinite is literally Eggman's bitch. He doesn't have any character in him. And was giving it the Bobby Biggins to Shadow, which led him to getting his fucking ass kicked, alright! Hope you emo Shadow fans are satisfied, said the scriptwriter. So why is Infinite evil? Was it because he has an emotionally scarring backstory? Was it because he had no choice but to be evil? Was it because he gets no bitches? It's because Shadow called him worthless. Once. I'm sorry, lad, but it was facts. Shadow was worthless in that cutscene, and your entire existence is pathetic. Let's be honest. You were from the start of the game to the end of the game. It's bullshit, because Infinite is supposed to be the main antagonist. He's supposed to be the threat. He's supposed to be the final boss. We fight him 3 times, and to be honest, all his fights were pretty good, but I swear this prick thinks he's the bollocks for the entire game. Dickhead, you got shat on a total of 4 times in the game where you're the fucking main villain and can't stop talking about how everyone is nothing to you. He beat Sonic in the opening because he had clones to beat the shit out of him. He didn't even do anything. That kid is a freaking pussy. Phantom Ruby, that was the true main antagonist. That's not even me trying to make a joke. The main focus was literally on the Phantom Ruby. Infinite was just the guy that used it, but Eggman used it in the final boss and was able to create copies of villains the same way Infinite did. Let's talk about the main plot. Sonic got bored of playing Green Hill version 367, then he just decides to take a nap and let Eggman do whatever the fuck he wants for 6 months. There is literally no way to know what happened in that 6 months, because it feels like fuck all happened. Eggman's world domination happens in text. Fuck off. Eggman seemingly took over the world, and you spend the game trying to take it back on a piece of paper. Easily going to be an interesting plot. Every other game, you're trying to stop Eggman. This is the first time that fat fuck has already won. And why wouldn't he? Everyone in this room standing here also did fucking nothing. Shadow was playable, so you could say he did a teeny bit, but the rest just stand here and act depressed as if it's impossible to win. If one thing is certainly impossible, it's getting lower than a fucking S rank in this shit. This game allowed people to make their own character, and it was a decent system. You have a grapple hook you can use as a homing attack, and a lot of different options of wispons, which are just wisp weapons, because Sega will never let those little shits go. I don't know why. They were supposed to be a one-game gimmick. They have been in every game since Sonic Colors. Depending on what you choose, you'll have a unique weapon and access to certain wisps in stages that change how you play them. Like in Arsenal Pyramid, if you have the lightning wisp, you can skip almost all the platforming by just using the light speed dash and all the rings. Burst kills things the easiest, and you can literally just cheat every fucking stage. When you see a burst wisp, you can just start jumping over everything. And I never really use any other wisp. Okay, for the sake of this video, I did try out drill, and holy shit! This thing puts the boost to shame! Except it's not very useful when you're trying to fight a circle of enemies, because you're just going to end up killing yourself. But yeah, I just never felt any incentive to want to experiment with other wisps. It didn't matter if there was any shortcuts I missed, the levels are all too fucking short. They're over before they get started. I'm talking every stage is less than like 3 minutes. The only one I know for a fact that isn't is the final boss, because you have all these intervals of the boss changing phases, plus it's like 3 different bosses rolled into one. The level design is fucking boring. First, you have Green Hill version 367, and in case that isn't enough for you, I swear there is like more than 4 different versions of Green Hill in this game. Green Hill, it is a good intro level for this game, but if this was Unleashed or Generations, yeah, this would have been a shit stage. I'm not going to go into too much detail on every specific level in this game. Not a single one stuck out to me, but what's important is the gameplay. I'm not sure how many people are a fan of the slow boost, but yeah, this one ain't for me. I don't know if the stages are short to make the boosting seem faster, or if the boost was made slower because the stages were too short, so it made them seem longer. Boosting speed probably equals to normal running speed in Unleashed. There isn't any drifting, but you don't need that because there is literally only one turn in all of Sonic stages where the drift would be needed. There's multiple in the Avatar stages, but that shit's automatic. And he doesn't even boost, so you wouldn't need the drift realistically. You can't bounce, you can't lightspeed dash, you can only boost, jump, slide, and stop, but I'm not even sure there's any moment in a stage where you need to slide. Modern Sonic stages are mindless, dull, and boring, and don't feel like they get harder as they go on. The simplicity of just boosting through Eggman mechs is pretty fun, especially when you play for the first time in a while, but it's not going to be enough to make it any replayable. No do or die moments. I don't even know if you can quick step. There isn't any moment in a stage where you would. The levels feel so lazy, and it's obvious with there being a boost capsule literally planted everywhere you go, and they make sure they place them in your way, so there is absolutely no way of missing a single boost capsule unless you're trying to avoid, and you would have to try fucking hard to avoid that shit. They fill the boost to the max though, and not only that, hundreds of enemies are placed in your way to ensure the boost is going. In Colors, boosting was tied only to the white whiff, so there was a lot less boosting in that game because one capsule didn't fill your boost all the way. So it felt a lot more limited. It felt more like a side gimmick, but it meant you had to be a lot more conservative with it, and I think that helped make the shorter levels feel like they were bigger, because they may as well have been the same sizes as the Forces ones. But in Forces, you can just be holding the boost all stage with almost no thought. It gets jarring. The gameplay feels drier than a homeless man's mouth. Now, the Avatar stages are definitely a lot more interesting. One, because the genuine level design is overall better, and the stages are more unique, and the wisps give it more variety. You can either be a cheap bastard and just use burst to dip chunks of levels, which is what I did at almost every single stage, mainly because it's the first wisp you get, so the first one they give you is the most overpowered. Why the fuck would you use anything different? Or you could use lightning to lightspeed dash to skip longer pathways. You get this pretty early on in the game, and this is the only wisp that isn't burst that I see a use for. You can use hover to fly like your tails, or use cube to Minecraft parkour this shit. And then there's the rest. As I said, I just don't feel the incentive to actually try the rest because I still see no reason. I'm gonna get my S rank and act like I accomplished something. Then there's Classic Sonic, which can just piss off. No one cares about you. You had Sonic Mania, bitch. You don't need to be here. Then there's the tag team stages, which are easily the best, but there's only two, for fuck's sake. The tag team combine the Avatar with Sonic, but I see one main reason why these work. The Avatar playstyle and stages are designed a lot better than Sonic, and the only thing he's missing is the boost, and Sonic honestly adds nothing more to this playstyle other than boosting and a faster homing attack. This should have been the main playstyle for the entire game. I think the devs put all the focus on this one, and while the game would have played much better if this was for every stage. As I said, the wisps help with level variety. It's not huge, but it's better than modern Sonic stages. The only downside to the Avatar is the fact that he can't boost, so by having Sonic's boost, you have the speed there and the more unique and interesting gameplay to create the most fun playstyle the game has. As I said, the game feels like it's putting out every risk. Over the game, you take back the world from Eggman, but there's never any stakes. There's this null space moment where Eggman literally says nothing can escape, and he traps Sonic in there. So this is it. Sonic's gonna die. Oh, no, never mind. You just escape it within 5 seconds. I don't care if this is supposed to be a nice moment. Oh, Sonic can't do it alone. Only together they can defeat anything. Fuck off, you cunts. Double boost is bullshit because the Avatar can't even boost alone. The game had 4 returning villains. Chaos, the original 3D Sonic villain. Metal Sonic, the original Sonic rival. Shadow, one of the most beloved characters in the whole franchise. And this fat dickhead. Not even going to say his name, because who gives a fuck? It was pretty cool to see these villains return, but let's get the obvious out the way. Shadow and Chaos don't even get in fucking boss fights. Chaos dies from one hit in a cutscene. He was just there to give you a boner in the trailer. Shadow doesn't bother me too much that he didn't have a boss, but couldn't he have been part of a stage? For fuck's sake, that was a wasted opportunity there. The flaws are almost so obvious to people who played the game and played other games that I would be wasting time explaining why it pisses me off bringing these twats back to look like they're villains. Basically, they're copies. The Phantom Ruby can create anything, so Infinite use fake versions of these villains, and the problem is they are not seen doing anything, so I always forget they are part of the plot, and that's cause they're not. Once again, the Phantom Ruby, that is the main villain, and no one else. The endgame is boring. The final boss is the same from Sonic Colors. There are stakes for about 3 minutes in the last act. Infinite creates a sun above everyone, then the Avatar gets rid of it with a Phantom Ruby prototype. Yeah, those aren't exactly fully explained. All that matters is that the Avatar can use it to counter anything Infinite can create. Also, Eggman was literally willing to kill himself with everyone else unless he is secretly immune to the sun, which if so, then bullshit. But to be honest, I think I've said all I need to. Once again, the game was super disappointing, mainly with the story for me. The gameplay could have been the same, but if the story was exciting, it wouldn't have bothered me. But it wasn't. It was boring, underwhelming, and all I ask is that Infinite never comes back. Sega recycled the shit out of Zavok for fuck knows what reason. No one likes him. That fat bastard is irrelevant. He can shite off. The last moments of Infinite was him running off like a little bitch. As I said, he was a freaking pussy and didn't do anything. I could sit here and just compare the better villains in Sonic's history, but that would be a waste of my time, and also that can be saved for later videos, so long as I stop being so lazy and start working a little bit harder. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. Leave a like, subscribe, and until the next time, have a good one, lads.